character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experiences of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. This is what Team DPS Coimbatore, under the tutelage of Dakshina Education Society, has been doing relentlessly for years, grooming, sharpening characters, and letting them achieve heights of glory. From 2012 till date, we have gone from strength to strength, amalgamating intellectual, athletic, and aesthetic pursuits. And as Albert Einstein says, we shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. Very true. In fact, our motto is nurture the nature so that we can have a better future. Thus, we take this opportunity to celebrate the World Environment Day and to also create awareness about the importance of a green and healthy environment. This initiative is not only to take accountability for the environmental damages, but to also generate a sense of responsibility towards the environment in the people and the government. Only a few committed citizens can change the world. We have tried our level best to contribute, to enhance, to beautify, and to preserve nature. Now, I call upon Tarini Agarwal to highlight the importance of the World Environment Day and our minuscule but sincere efforts towards environment.
In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, what we are doing to the forests of the world is a mirror reflection of what we are doing to ourselves and one another. The plants, the tall green trees, beautiful birds, little squirrels, or any creature are all part of an ecosystem. An ecosystem is a community among living organisms where they interact with each other in the environment. Isn't that fascinating? We inherited a beautiful planet from our ancestors. And what have we done? Our activities of deforestation and reckless use of natural resources have damaged the natural ecosystem. First, let us analyze where we stand. Almost all ecosystems today stand degraded to varying degrees due to a mix of factors, including developmental pressures, population growth, and overexploitation, affecting human well-being and economic sustainability. Scientists have warned that 24 billion tons of fertile soil is lost per year, largely due to unsustainable agricultural practices. If this trend continues, 95% of the Earth's land areas will stand degraded by 2050. We are therefore in a situation where conservation alone is no longer enough and needs to be combined with ecological restoration. Now, what is ecological restoration? Well, it is the process of assisting the recovery of those ecosystems that have been damaged, degraded, or destroyed. It involves the use of moderate to high-level intervention techniques, the use of technologies including sapling planting, seed broadcasting, and invasive species management in terrestrial forests is an example. Restoration adopts a holistic approach, focused on all elements of an ecosystem, including soil, hydrology, flora, and fauna. Projects on the polluted rivers and lakes in India is an example. Now the question arises, can we as individuals and organizations help in ecological restoration? Yes, of course. We at Delhi Public School Coimbatore are devoted to the best practices that support the environment, like vermicomposting, paper recycling, waste management, and restricted use of plastic on campus. With great pride, I would also like to share that DPS Coimbatore bagged the Green School Award for practices being followed to maintain a spick and span green ambience. Future and choice both lie in our hands. Let's do something before it's too late. Nathaniel H. Eggleston says, nature bears for too long with those who wrong her. She is patient under abuse, but when the abuse goes too far and the time for reckoning finally comes, she is equally slow to appease and to turn away her wrath. I would like to end on a positive note. I don't want to protect the environment. I want to create a world where the environment doesn't need protection.
Thank you, Tarini, for that thought-provoking speech. Coming up next is a virtual trek through the school forest. The flora and fauna that adds to the aura in and around the school through a short video prepared by our students.
us on this virtual tour and reminiscing nostalgic moments that we had at our school. Now, let's listen to Aishwarya, who will be reciting the poem Warned by Sylvia Stauss. This poem is a warning to humanity and holds both pollution as well as human beings responsible for hurting Mother Nature. Over to Aishwarya.
Warned by Sylvia Stutz. The sands of time have rendered fear. Blue skies on high are no longer clear. Stars were bright whence they came, now dim as the pollutions are untamed. Crystal clear our waters gleam, fish abundant, rivers stream. Ocean floors were sandy white, now littered brown, that is pollution's plight. Trees towered high above, trunks bearing professed love. Birds chirping from sights unseen, gone. Paper joined pollution's theme. One can't blame pollution alone. As they say, you reap what you sow. So let us plant a better seed. Tear out old roots, cultivate weed. Protect what has been given for free. Our waters, skies, wildlife and trees. For once they're gone, don't you say. Consider yourself warned of that fatal day.
Thank you for this encouraging recitation. To quote Dallin Oaks, desires dictate our priorities, priorities shape our choices, and choices determine our actions. Yes, while most people talk, there are few who choose to fight for a cause, to improve and protect the quality of the natural environment. They identify hazards to the environment and also help create solutions by eliminating them. Today, we have the privilege to welcome Mr. Suparno Banerjee, an environmentalist, a crusader who has dedicated his life and career towards environment. He has been with the Center for Science and Environment, CSE, for almost 19 years, and as part of the center's outreach, media and publications team, he has played a vital role in almost every major campaign that CSE has been involved in within this period. Mr. Banerjee, who holds a master's in English literature, has worked as a book editor, journalist, corporate communication professional, and media relations officer for over 25 years. Currently, he heads the CSE's media, outreach publications, and environment education teams. Please welcome Mr. Suparno Banerjee to enlighten us with his thoughts and guide us towards a greener and cleaner earth.
Wishing all of you a very purposeful and productive Environment Day. I am Suparno Banerjee from Center for Science and Environment in New Delhi, and I'm thankful to the organizing schools for granting me this opportunity to interact with you all. Before I get into the subject of climate change, which is the point of my discussion here today, let me underline one thing. Designating one day in the calendar as World Environment Day is an excellent idea, no doubt about it. But does it mean that we do all our thinking and chest beating about environment only on this date? No. As responsible citizens of this nation and this planet, we must celebrate every day as an Environment Day. Every day for us should be a day when we think of how important it is to live sustainably and how critical it is to keep our surroundings pollution free. Every day for us should be a day when we resolve to actively work towards turning those thoughts into action. Having said that, let me come to the main subject of my address here, climate change. It is a term that is familiar to most of you. Your teachers talk about it. You also read about it in newspapers or hear about it on television almost all the time. What is this climate change? As we struggle with this pandemic, the COVID-19 situation, we seem to have forgotten that a more insidious enemy is eating away at the world. This is climate change. Textbooks connected to the warming of the globe, which is leading to some really damaging impacts on our earth. Many of us who live in cities and urban centers have read about it, but we do not really connect it to what is happening around us now with frightening regularity. How many of you have read about the absolutely fearsome cyclone Taukte, which hit the west coast of India recently in May. It has devastated cities like Mumbai and Thiruvananthapuram, as well as huge tracts of rural hinterlands, destroying crops and property, killing people and animals. Cyclones, you will say, are natural disasters. But did you know that the frequency, intensity, and ferocity of cyclones have increased because of climate change? Did you know that scientists believe the severe droughts and floods which India keeps struggling with every year, and Bihar is a prime example where it happens, could be because of climate change? So, what is this warming of the earth that we keep harping about? And how does it lead to such deadly disasters and other equally deadly impacts? According to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, also known as UNFCCC, climate change, quote unquote, refers to long-term changes in climate which result directly or indirectly from human activity. Human activity. That is the key term here. What is this human activity that we are talking about? What we are talking about is the way we humans have used fossil fuels like coal and petroleum, the way we have rampantly misused our natural resources, essentially the very way we have lived our lives all this while. Our incessant burning of unclean fossil fuels to run our industries and power plants and vehicles has resulted in generation of huge quantities of carbon dioxide, the deadliest of the greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide traps heat from the sun and keeps it in the atmosphere like a glass greenhouse would. Once released, carbon dioxide can stay in the atmosphere for over 100 years, which is why the gas released a century ago continues to warm the planet even today. There are other greenhouse gases that contribute to climate change as well, such as methane, ozone, and nitrous oxide. Together, these gases have led to the phenomenon of what is called global warming, which in turn has triggered extensive changes in natural phenomena. For instance, it has heated the oceans by the equivalent of one atomic bomb explosion per second for the past 150 years. Glaciers and their ice is melting worldwide, especially at the Earth's poles, leading to a rise in sea levels, which is threatening to swallow up our smaller island nations. In some regions, climate change has led to more severe drought conditions, increasing the risk of wildfires, crop damage, and drinking water shortages. In India and other parts of the world, rains and monsoons have become far more unpredictable, thereby impacting agricultural practices and making us more vulnerable to food insecurity. Rising temperatures are also affecting wildlife and their habitats. The lovable polar bear, for instance, is in real danger of becoming extinct. In Antarctica, some populations of penguins have seen an alarming 90% dip in their numbers. Now, the question that we have to ask is, what is the world doing to save itself from this clear and present danger? For many years now, countries have joined together under the UN to combat climate change. But is there something that we as individuals can do? We can. By resolving to use clean energy to fuel our homes and our lifestyles. Use more energy efficient appliances, for instance, or opt for renewable energy, solar, wind, etc., to power your needs. Our cars and other vehicles are one of the biggest sources of carbon emissions. Let us resolve not to drive if we can walk or cycle or take public transport. Let us resolve to stop burning off solid waste wherever we see it happening. Better still, let us control our consumption so that we do not end up generating massive mountains of waste. Let us resolve to recycle and reuse. As students and teachers, you have an immensely powerful voice. Your opinion can sway the opinions of your parents, your families, your communities. Let us resolve to make ourselves aware, to make ourselves strong with knowledge so that we can persuade others of the importance of changing the way we live and let live. from CSE, which has played a major role in making India and the world aware of the imminent danger that we are in from climate change. This is the message I bring. Make these resolutions today and live them every day of your lives. Make every day count. Make every day an environment day. Only when you do that will you survive this threat. Thank you, and God bless all of you. Stay safe, stay well, and stay enlightened.
Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring us. I'm sure everyone has greatly benefited from your words of wisdom. Now, we will take you to the magical world of hand puppetry, where you will watch puppets voice a strong message against pollution and how one must act quickly to fix it. So fasten your seatbelts and watch the scintillating performance.
The sun rises in Vasudha's face on a wonderful summer morning. She stretches and gets ready for school. On her way out the door, she grabs a packet of chips. Vasudha leisurely munches on her treat as she makes her way down the long road to school. While crossing the forest on her way to school, she throws her empty bag of chips into the face of a squirrel.
Excuse me, young child. You must throw your trash in the forest.
Then where else am I supposed to throw it?
When the animals of the forest heard this conversation taking place, they began to gather around Vasudha.
Child, you have a lot to learn. Always keep your litter with you until you reach your home or another place where you can access the trash can. You must always segregate your waste. Do you understand?
That's alright, but how do I segregate my waste?
Waste segregation is very easy. There are 4 kinds of waste: wet waste, dry waste, sanitary waste, and hazardous waste.
Wet waste includes biodegradable waste such as vegetable peels, food leftovers, meat, and bones.
Dry waste refers to any material that isn't damp and can be recycled, such as plastic and paper.
Sanitary waste includes medical waste like dressings, gauze pieces, needles, surgical equipment, expired medicines, etc. And are you aware, nowadays, due to the pandemic, infectious wastes like PPEs, gloves, masks, etc. also need to be disposed carefully.
Hazardous waste refers to waste which contains toxic or dangerous materials such as e-waste. Each of these 4 must be segregated and put into 4 different containers.
Along with waste segregation, always remember the 5 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle.
Thank you, kind animals. You have taught me a lot today.
Entranced by this new information, she began thinking on how to implement waste segregation at home.
She was suddenly jolted out of her reverie by the sight of a dead fish on the sidewalk. She looked over at the lake beside her, shocked to find it filled with a dead fish. She was about to kick the dead fish on the sidewalk when it let out with a gurgling sound.
Young child, please help me.
Vasudha bent down to inspect the fish that lay there flopping in front of her.
The factory on the other bank of the lake has killed most of my friends and families. Only a few of us are still alive. And even we won't last very long. How this happened to you, my little fish? How this happened?
A turtle walked up near them, joined by the other aquatic friends. The factory has been releasing a constant stream of untreated chemicals and industrial effluents into the water. These chemicals are toxic and have killed my friends.
I can understand these toxic chemicals. Chemicals such as mercury not only affect aquatic life but humans too. Mercury is eaten by fish and then passed on to humans when fish are eaten. This led to mercury poisoning, which corrodes the gastrointestinal tract of humans and can be fatal.
Moreover, the factory also releases hot water into the lake, which kill all the fish eggs. To make matter even worse, the chemicals that are killing off aquatic life are helping the algae grow. This has led to the widespread of algal bloom, which is slowly eating up the dissolved oxygen supply in the water.
How can I help your situation? Please tell me. Please help to raise the awareness about the hazards of industrial effluents. Every voice that speaks up against it will help us. Sure, I will do that.
Factory releases chemicals without treating them, and there are no penalties, fines, which bind them in place. By creating the petition and getting signature, it can help create pressure to dispose of industrial waste in a safe manner.
You can also help by not throwing the plastic and other waste into the lake. We already have enough problems without common human adding to it. I will try my best to help save you and your friends, dear fish and animal. I will definitely try my best.
Vasudha picked up the fish and gently laid it back in the river. And thus, Vasudha continued on her way to school, now thinking of how to help spread awareness about water pollution.
Once again, she is brought back to reality by the loud squawking of a parrot. A parrot was flying in the air in circles and creating a racket.
Parrot, what has happened to you? Young child, the air is filled with so much smoke. I find it very hard to breathe.
The realities of life hit Vasudha hard after listening to the animals' stories of pain. Nearby birds saw Vasudha's confused expressions and flocked around her.
How has this happened to you, lovely parrot? Each day, factories in the distance spewed plumes of smoke into the air. Cars line up in the streets like beetles and little puffs of pollution.
Meow. Their continuous honking hurts my ears so much. Meow. It always wakes me up at night when I try to catch some sleep. Meow. Meow. In the city, the lights are never completely off, leading to so much light pollution that I find trouble figuring out when the sun has set and night has begun. I long to see the stars. Meow.
widespread deforestation, meow, has pushed me and my family out of the forest, meow, and into the city in hope of a safer shelter. But my problems have not stopped. Meow. I am still being tortured by the humans. Meow.
I'm so sorry, dear friends. I never wanted this to happen to you. I will spread awareness at school and home and try to help you. I promise not all humans are as evil as you believe us to be.
Thank you, child. You are the kindest human I have ever met.
A whole day at school. Vasudha was wondering what she could do. Then, on the way back as she was walking,
I just know what I should do.
she comes back home and takes out her EVS notebook. She reads the important 3 words: recycle, reduce, reuse. Vasudha starts cleaning the pond next to her house. Did you see that Vasudha is putting the vegetable peels in a separate bin? She will use it to make her own vermicompost. Vasudha made sure that no tap is leaking. And she saves electricity. When she goes shopping, she only picks products in eco-friendly packaging. For instance, this container is made of 100% biodegradable plant fiber. And she carries her own cloth shopping bag. She prefers drinking juice from fresh, organic, local produce over the factory processed juices. She never shops unnecessarily. Let's see what she says when she sees this ad on the newspaper.
I already have everything I really need.
Vasudha followed Greta Thunberg on social media. Vasudha realized how important bugs and insects are for the ecosystem.
These insects are very important for pollination.
She is sowing seeds to make her own organic vegetable garden and adds vermicompost to the soil. This is the compost she made from the vegetable peels she collected from the pond, remember? She waters her plants regularly.
Come on, everyone. Let me show you my garden. This is my pomegranate garden. Yum, yum, yum. This is yummy, fresh and juicy tomatoes. Beans. Cool cucumber. Lime juice, anyone? Joe. You see chili. Watermelon, watermelon. Growing on the vine. Growing on the vine. It's watermelon, people. Many, many more. My garden keeps the air fresh and clean.
Wait, what
Time to relax and enjoy nature.
Ha 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 ha! Look at the little girl doing wonderful things. Are you the next Vasudha?
Environment is no one's property to destroy. It's everyone's responsibility to protect. As the Dalai Lama says, it's our collective and individual responsibility to preserve and tend to the world in which we all live. So let's take a pledge to commit ourselves to conservation of Mother Nature and our lively planet.
No job is too big. No action too small.
The care for our earth is the duty of all.
This environment is our legacy, and what we make of it will be our children's heritage.
Today, I pledge to reduce my carbon footprint.
Recycling whatever I can.
and refusing plastic disposables wherever its use is not necessary.
I pledge to lend a hand in ecosystem restoration by putting maximum effort into plant more trees than my actions have cut.
Finally, I pledge as a child of this earth to fight against climate change, spread awareness and conserve Mother Nature's food.
Gratitude is the heartiest of all human emotions. The more you express gratitude for what you have, the more likely you'll have even more to express gratitude for. Thus, I, on behalf of everyone, extend my heartfelt gratitude to Team DPS Coimbatore for giving us this opportunity to organize this event and for showing their confidence in us. I am sincerely grateful to all the students in the prefectorial body and all the students who lent us their support to put up this event today. To be inspired is great, but to be an inspiration is an honor. I thank our guest speaker, Mr. Suparno Banerjee, for gracing us with his honorable presence today and for motivating us to be responsible citizens. Parental love is the only love that is truly unconditional and selfless. We thank and recognize the never-ending support of the parents, without which this event wouldn't have been possible. Finally, we take your leave with an appeal for clean earth, green earth, let it breathe. Thank you and have a nice day.